Hi guys, how y'all doing? Kat here from Back in the Saddle. It's been a little while since I've sat here and actually done a video kind of talky to you guys, but I wanted to go over some things today in regards to the mindful touch and massaging your horse for a better relationship. So I've recently done a wonderful workshop at one of the local equestrian centres, and it went down really well. I am so pleased, and I've had some amazing feedback. We've held this workshop fair few times, and every time different people come, we get a different dynamic to the group, and it's absolutely wonderful to be able to share our experiences. So the course is Learn to Massage Your Horse at Home to Build a Better Relationship using the Mindful Touch Techniques. So we spend the good part of the morning discussing what is the best relationship that you can have with your horse. And we go over some history with everybody, and we go over some intentions and what we want as owners and what would make us happy as an owner to be able to get that. And often I ask, are you happy with your horses? And it's very hard for people when they're coming out of an injury or they're in rehab. They have conflicting ideas and conflicting views. If a vet and say a physio has put you onto one plan, and then somebody else sees that plan and says, oh, I wouldn't do it like that, I'd do it like this. It does not matter, because the plan that you're on is the plan for you, and you see that through over the 6 weeks, 3 months, whatever that may be, and that's your plan between you and your vet, and that's what you stick to, and that's wonderful. But sometimes when you're in the thick of it and you think, I'm doing these things, I'm doing all the exercises they say on specific days for specific times, and I'm doing everything that I should, and yet emotionally I still feel there's something missing. So when I say, are you happy with your horse? Of course, most of us are, most of the time, and a lot of the time there can be confusion and fear and lack of kind of compassion between those giving the rehab plan or the fitness plan as to how we are feeling emotionally with the horse. So often that comes down to, is the horse happy with you? And that's a big question. It's a big open question. It seems to have absolutely no relevance to massage at all. But unless we know where we are, and unless we know where the horse is, then how do we meet them where they are at to know how to engage, to be able to create this safe environment, and um, the being that will set us off, into the plan. I call it, to make it easier to understand, the sweet spot. So we have this intention, we have this goal. It almost doesn't bring about any air of, as I say, emotional, incorporation into it at all. And so say if we're a competitor, so we want to produce this by this certain date, and then there's the horse that actually would probably, and it might not be fair of me to say this, but wants to be barefoot out in the field with no rugs on, just eating hay and grass. So where do we find this sweet spot? And so that's why this question is really involved once we start to talk about it, and it is finding that sweet spot between where we're at, between where the horse is at, where we want to be happy, where the horse wants to be happy, and to meet in the middle. And I honestly feel that massage is the gap to link these two things. So are you happy with your horse? If not, why not? If yes, why? Is your horse happy with you? If not, why not? If yes, then why? And once we've found that, then meeting the horse where they're at is to me what is the mindful touch. So from here we will then have an understanding of not only the relationship that we have with our horses, but also our intention. And to me, that this is such an important topic that I'm so glad that it went down so well in our workshop, so that people can really understand that it's not just about us demanding things or wanting things to, create this relationship with our horse, to make it the best relationship that we can have. So I wanted to go over that, and I hope that that helps. So what happens a lot of the time when I ask, are you happy with your horse? We then need to delve down to what it actually means to be happy with the horse. So instead of just saying happiness, what I have done here is I have reached a conclusion that there is a list of roughly 3 things that, how do you define happiness? This is the issue, isn't it, really? What do you define as happiness? I always thought if I was out competing, that was my drive. That was my passion, that was my purpose, but my emotional intelligence, when it came down to that, was completely missing. There was no emotional intelligence. I remember having bred one of my own horses, broken myself, doing very, very well, but for some reason she started to want to land toe first, and it just wasn't looking right to me. So, as a 4, 5, maybe getting on for 6 years old, and I thought, I don't know. Going barefoot was a completely new concept for me. This horse is now 20, so I didn't really know what to do. And I remember this amazing barefoot trimmer coming and seeing me and saying, yes, we can take her barefoot. I see what you're seeing exactly, and I think barefoot would really help her. It's going to take about a year to bring her round and to do that transition. And he told me everything I needed to do to go through the transition. He actually brought a translator with him at the time because he only really spoke Spanish, and so his English was bit few and far between as to what I could actually understand him. Anyway, once she told me it's going to take a year, I said, no, I can't do that. I've entered the local show. It's like a regional show, like a country show. And, I've got this in May. I can't, this is like 2.5 months away or whatever it was at the time. Anyway, so after all this time, it then came about that she wasn't ready for the show anyway, because she just wasn't right. She was intermittently lame, not quite right. So this went on for a long time. So anyway, what it meant was that actually, had I have met the horse where she was at, it wouldn't have taken me another 3 or 4 years or so to call that trimmer back. And as soon as he saw her, he said, the little red horse. His English had got a bit better by this point. He said, the little red horse, I always wonder what happened to the little red horse. And here she is. He couldn't remember me, but he remembered the horse instantly anyway. After all this time, I did do the transition to barefoot, and thank goodness that I did. And that's where we are. So when it came to my emotional intelligence, when there was a breakdown like this, I didn't know another way, because I had my intention, I had my dates booked, I had my fitness plan, and it was not within my remit that this wouldn't happen. If it did happen, I felt like I was failing. I was really falling short. And now, of course, I've learnt to meet the horse where he's at, get that sweet spot, use the mindful touch to appreciate. There's only so much that we can do, and we have to meet them in the middle where they're at, and I find it so comforting when I go and see a horse and its makeup isn't ideal, or the horse has some physical history that, you know, we need to help with. And if I say to the owner or the rider, what's the intentions, what do you want to do, and it is such a blessing, and it brings tears to my eyes nearly every time I hear it when somebody says whatever they will do, you know. And I totally get from a sport specific kind of mindset that I always came from, that oh my goodness, well, we've got the regionals in 3 months, 6 weeks, whatever it will be, and this is what we've got to do. I totally get that side of it as well, because that's the background that I came from. So what I mean is, when I say are you happy with your horse, it's not just the intention, or it's not just the day-to-day stuff. So I have 3 main things that I've written down. So to be happy, or rather than use the word happy, to break it down, I basically ask, are you proud of your recent efforts with your horse? So that's not to do with accomplishments or your achievements as such. It's not to do with that. I'm not asking you if you're proud of your recent achievements. I'm asking if you're proud of your recent efforts. There's something to think on there for yourselves. Um, Now, the other thing that can open a whole can of worms is, are you grateful? So a lot of the times we've had an injury, we're in the recovery process, and we are not grateful for that. But the good and the bad is what I'm asking everybody to consider, to be grateful for. So say with my little mare, I was not grateful that, you know, the trimmer had said to me, yeah, we can win her round, but it's going to take a year. I wasn't grateful at all that I was seeing her land toe first. I wasn't grateful at all that I then still ended up missing that actual show. She'd won the year before in hand, and then I was taking her to her first ridden class. And it meant the world to me to be able to go there. And so I wasn't grateful for that. Now I've realised that anything like that happens, I have to be grateful for, because had it not have been for that, I would not now be an advocate for barefoot. I would probably have a very lame horse, because her heels would have been contracted, and you know, the shoeing regime that she was on was a 3/4 thoroughbred. You know, it was a downhill slope. So I'm grateful for the good and for the bad, because even from the bad we have such kind of profound experiences that help us in the longer term. So I now have 2 other horses, both I've taken to barefoot. So it's are you grateful? And it's finding the gratefulness not just in the little things, like you know, sometimes I lay there and I meditate, and when I come out of the meditation, I'm so grateful that I can look out my skylight and see the sky, and you know, I'm so grateful I can turn on the heating and it's instant, or I have the hot water running out my tap. You know, it's much more than that. It is being grateful for the bigger picture of things that will come from this. And I often say to people that horses are sent to us for a reason, you know, and that little mare, through what's happened to her, has taught me so much. So now I can go on and help other people and teach them about the transition. And I'm lucky enough now that most of my clients are barefoot. We all seem to sing from the same hymn sheet. It has taken me many, many years to get to this point, but through that, you know, I'm lucky. So are you grateful? It's a big one, but say the positive, the negative, and we can list those things, and then maybe list why we're grateful for them. Okay, so accepting things that are bad, and being grateful for that time that we've come through it and what we've learnt from it, and then where we progress to because of that. So I hope that, you know, makes sense to you guys. So, and then the third thing that I think kind of sums up as to what it means to be happy, or how to create this happiness with our relationship with our horses, is for me to ask, are you excited about anything coming up? So we've done a little bit of reflection there, and now we're starting to move forward to think forward. Are you excited about anything coming up? So that may be as much as I'm excited now that I'm in a regular routine with this horse, and I am excited to see the results continue to come into fruition. Or I'm excited that we have this event planned. I'm excited to go and try these new massage techniques that I've learnt at the weekend with my horse. This kind of stuff. So it just kind of summarises to me what it means to be happy, proud of recent efforts. So you've put the work in, grateful that even though you've had to put this work in, it may not have been in your plan, but now because of that, I'm grateful for what's coming out of it, and then excited for the future or something coming up, And this, for me, once these have been listed and summarised and spoken about to some degree, then I feel that we're then starting from an area of kind of being fulfilled with our horses and fulfilled through our intentions. But we have to go through this talk, even though it's a learn to massage your horse workshop to build a better relationship. It's not just all about the hands-on. It is understanding the relationship before we go and put the hands on. So I hope that brings about some things, some food for thought there, and also helps to explain the intentions and the reasonings behind the mindful touch. It's not just about us demanding these muscles to be functioning efficiently and there's a physical aspect, there's the emotional aspect, and of course with our equines there is the huge elephant in the room, which is the spiritual aspect. So on many levels we can enter any of these questions or any of those topics that I've just spoken about, physical, emotional, and of course the spiritual aspect, being with these most spiritual beings, the horses. So I really hope that brings about some, as I say, some food for thought, that maybe if you'd like to comment or give your replies to that, or what that brought up for you, then that would be wonderful to help me. And it's just a nice kind of headspace to get in before we then go forwards on the rest of the course, which I hope to do some more videos about soon. So thanks guys, thanks for watching, thanks for listening. Please do add any of your comments and any other topics that you want to talk about, or anything that's brought out that may bring up a whole new topic of itself as well. Okay, so thanks again, and onwards.